Welcome to Module 1 Introduction to Composting. In this lesson, you'll learn what composting is, why it's important, the science behind it, and how the composting process works step by step. Let's begin with the first section. What is composting? Composting is a natural recycling process that transforms organic waste such as kitchen scraps, dried leaves, and animal manure into a dark, crumbly, nutrient-rich material known as compost. This process happens through the action of tiny living organisms, mainly bacteria, fungi, and actinomycetes. These microorganisms work together to break down waste materials into simpler substances that plants can easily absorb. In other words, composting helps turn waste into valuable food for the soil. Compost is often called black gold. Why? Because it plays a golden role in improving soil health and boosting plant growth. When added to soil, compost enhances its texture, increases fertility, and encourages stronger, healthier plants. Imagine this: instead of throwing away food waste and leaves, you transform them into something that helps plants thrive. That's the magic of composting. Now, let's explore why composting is so important not just for farmers, but for everyone who cares about the environment. First, composting helps reduce waste. Every day, households and farms produce large amounts of organic waste. Instead of sending it to landfills, composting allows us to recycle it into something useful, a natural fertilizer. This simple act reduces the burden on waste management systems and keeps the environment cleaner. Second, composting improves soil health. It adds valuable organic matter and essential nutrients to the soil. Over time, this enhances the soil structure, making it more fertile and better at supporting plant roots. Third, composting helps conserve water. Compost improves the soil's ability to hold moisture, reducing the need for frequent watering, especially in hot or dry climates. Fourth, composting helps protect the environment. By reducing the amount of waste sent to landfills, we cut down on methane and greenhouse gas emissions, two major contributors to global warming. And finally, composting supports sustainable agriculture. It provides a natural and cost-effective alternative to chemical fertilizers. This means healthier soils, cleaner food production, and a farming system that can last for generations to come. So, composting isn't just a way to manage waste, it's a small action that creates a big impact on our planet. Now that we understand the importance of composting, let's take a closer look at the science behind it. What actually happens inside a compost pile? At the heart of composting lies a simple but powerful natural process: decomposition, which are the breakdown of organic materials by tiny living organisms. To work efficiently, these microorganisms need four essential elements: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and water. Let's explore each of these one by one. Starting with carbon. Carbon is often found in dry materials like leaves, straw, or paper. It provides energy for the microorganisms that live inside your compost pile. Think of carbon as the fuel that keeps the composting engine running. When microbes consume carbon-rich materials, they release energy. And that energy drives the entire decomposition process. That's why carbon is sometimes called the backbone of composting. But carbon alone isn't enough. Microorganisms also need something to help them grow and multiply. That's where nitrogen comes in. Nitrogen is found in fresh materials like fruit and vegetable scraps, grass clippings, and animal manure. It helps build the proteins and enzymes that microbes need to reproduce and stay active. Without enough nitrogen, composting slows down. The pile may even stop decomposing altogether. So, in simple terms, carbon provides the energy, while nitrogen provides the building blocks for life. The perfect compost mix usually has a balance between these two. Too much carbon, and decomposition becomes slow and dry. Too much nitrogen, and you might end up with a smelly, soggy mess. So remember, balance is everything. Next up, oxygen. Oxygen is a key player in aerobic composting. Microorganisms that thrive in the presence of oxygen are called aerobic microbes. They break down materials quickly and without producing foul smells. If oxygen becomes limited, the compost pile turns anaerobic, meaning other microbes take over that don't need oxygen. Unfortunately, those microbes produce unpleasant odors, similar to rotting garbage or stagnant water. That's why turning or mixing your compost regularly is so important. When you turn your compost pile, you let fresh air flow in. And this gives your microbes the oxygen they need to stay healthy and efficient. Think of it like breathing life into your compost. And finally, the fourth element, water. Just like all living things, microorganisms need moisture to survive. Water keeps the compost pile active and helps materials break down more easily. Ideally, your compost should feel like a damp sponge. Moist but not dripping wet. If it's too dry, microbes slow down or even go dormant. If it's too wet, oxygen can't flow through the pile properly. And once again, you'll get that unpleasant smell. So the trick is to find the right balance. Add water if the pile feels dry. Add dry materials like leaves or paper if it feels too wet. When these four essential elements, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and water, are balanced in the right proportions, something truly amazing happens. Decomposition takes place quickly, cleanly, and efficiently. The temperature inside your compost pile rises as microbes work hard, breaking down materials into simpler compounds. Over time, your waste transforms into a dark, earthy, and nutrient-rich material we call compost, often known as black gold. It's a perfect example of how science and nature work together in harmony. Composting isn't just about throwing waste into a pile. It's about understanding the living system inside that pile. A system powered by energy, balance, and life itself. When you master this balance, when your carbon and nitrogen are in harmony, your oxygen levels are healthy, and your moisture just right, you become part scientist and part artist. Because in the end, composting is both a science and an art. A science that explains how nature recycles life, and an art that teaches us patience, observation, and respect for the environment. So the next time you see a compost pile steaming and turning dark and crumbly, remember, it's alive. A living ecosystem working tirelessly to create something new from what we once called waste. And that's the real beauty of composting. And that brings us to the end of Module 1, Introduction to Composting. You've learned what composting is, why it's so important, and the science that makes it all work. In the next module, we'll take it a step further and explore how you can start your very own compost system, step by step. But before you move on, don't forget to complete the assessment to test your knowledge and see how much you've learned from this module. Thank you for joining me in this lesson. See you in the next module, and happy composting!